watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I am telling you why. 'Cause Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, let's go! You better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming. I mean the big fat man with the long white beard. He's coming to town.
Oh yeah, tremendous. What a wonderful performance to start this afternoon's Time Tunnel live TV show. Thanks very much for that, St. Nick will be speaking to us later in the show. Just right song for the right time of year, and to put us in the festive mood for today's show, we'll be welcoming Santa back for a brief chat. But first, let's take a look at him training for this Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
Open day at the School for Santas began with a photo call, a feast of Father Christmases, and, flown in especially from Scotland, sleepy-looking reindeer attached to a make-believe sleigh. A catalogue chain store claiming some of our Father Christmases are not what they should be had flown in an American to give the store's ho-ho-ho men a couple of hours tuition.
Really respect the English, you know, because they started with the gift-giving tradition, and they also made Christmas trees popular. They also believe in the one real Santa, and to me that's sacred, and we really appreciate that.
As Mr. Valent says, there's only one real Father Christmas, and you might well wonder what he'd be thinking of all this.
Raise one hand and do the ho-ho.
Lesson 1, get the ho-ho-hos right.
Very good, kids. Have a seat.
But there were just too many Santas for this little girl.
Get them all lined up
What for?
to see which one's the real one.
How do you tell?
Have a ho-ho.
Eventually, though, she did choose her man.
What do you want for Christmas to know?
Super Nala.
Oh, will you be going to bed early for me? Will you?
And then, well, they do say practice makes perfect. Vernon Mann, ITN, at the Santa Claus School.
Christmas Eve shopping is a phenomenon which turns the normal commercial picture on its head. Look at them. Lots and lots of slightly bewildered-looking men, often alone, sometimes in pairs for protection, doing that desperate last-minute present shop.
Do you always leave it late like this?
Yes. Yeah, always leave it to the last minute.
Yes, I am Christmas shopping. I always leave it late, and this is hell on earth.
Do you usually
I haven't got time. I've got on the parking meter.
Are you?
Yeah.
How many have you got to get? Just tell me.
About 7.
Actually, they're far from daft. Oxford Street this morning is a sunny place made far more pleasant by the lack of crowds. And many of the big stores will supply a personal shopper to help a hapless man who hasn't a clue what is and isn't suitable.
You know, the girls, I hate to say it, but the girls traditionally altogether better organised than our men folk. It's largely boys this morning. You need to look around the department here. We're in perfumery here at John Lewis, and it's predominantly men this morning.
They were everywhere, but mostly in perfumery, jewellery and the lingerie department. And who is that really for, sir?
Seems to me there are two very good outcomes from this phenomenon. One, a man in a hurry spends more.
Typically, yes, the average value goes up on a day like today.
And secondly, if you're a woman who doesn't have a man to buy you a gift this year, then maybe Oxford Street on Christmas Eve is the place to find one.
Liz Wickham, London Tonight, the West End.
OK, thanks very much from our colleagues from London Tonight and ITV for those particular pieces of video there. Okay, and here he is, without further ado. Let's welcome the man himself. Let's welcome Santa Claus to the studio.
Oh, thank
Hello,
you,
Santa,
thank you.
how are you?
Hey.
You all right, Santa?
I'll do, I'll do.
Right, so we just saw you in, were you in that particular VT there with the little girl?
I wasn't.
I thought you were the real one.
No.
That wasn't you?
I was just my helping hands.
Oh, helping hands. Can you tell us a little bit more about your helping hands? Because obviously, you know...
I'm having to hire a good, maybe 100, 200 every year, just to post around England and Europe and America, just to keep the kids happy. I'm just too busy.
Too busy. So can you tell us how a typical year starts for Father Christmas or Santa Claus? How it actually starts for you?
Well, it used to be a lot busier with the factory open. We used to make wooden toys and metal toys, then we even moved on to plastic. We used to work all year round just to deliver them to the kids. Nowadays it's more, we get things from Tesco and Argos, or if, you know, some years we could be a bit tight, so it's like Aldi or Lidl.
Right. So what happened to your factory then in Lapland? I mean, obviously saying you're stopping making stuff in Lapland now. What's happened with that?
Well, the thing is, these kids, all they want is Xbox games.
Right.
You know, on real toys that we used to make. So the elves had a bit of a revolt, and because they weren't earning enough money, and they burnt the place down.
Burnt the place down, so there's a bit of a revolt in Lapland, was there?
Yeah.
Right, that was kept well out of the public eye, wasn't it? You tried to obviously
smooth it over as much as possible.
Smooth it over, so you tried to put a ban on people from reporting different things, yeah.
Well, basically we just covered it in snow, and then no one knew.
So you actually have trips down to Lapland. What happened there when the incident happened? Was there any of your sort of people coming to visit, any sort of visitors there, or was it just completely...
Well, there were a few people there at the time, but, you know, just had to deal with them.
Now, the other thing is, Santa Claus, obviously you've lost a heck of a lot of weight. Can you tell us how that happened? Because obviously you normally... Like, there he is, look. That's how you used to look. I mean, what happened to that? See, that's how you turned up.
Well, I was slimmer and swimmer of the year.
Slimmer and swimmer?
Yeah.
So basically, the swimming got you slimmer. So you became...
Well, exactly. It got me nice and healthy.
So where was that taken, that particular photograph?
That one was taken about 1999.
Yeah.
And then the one before was about 1980.
Right, so obviously they've done a lot to your face as well. Look like you've had some facial surgery there because you're looking very, very spruce for a man of your years, if you don't mind me saying.
No, I've had a little bit, just a little bit of Botox here and there, about a couple of gallons worth.
More like Vortex, never mind Botox. But you know, so what made you lose all the weight in that? Because obviously we know that Father Christmas or Santa Claus has gone through transitional changes. The latter being 1920. When he went from his brown and his green to the yellow, to the red and white, and that was down to Coca-Cola. So is this a new sort of a slant on Santa Claus, losing the weight and going darker, the darker image?
Well, I'm trying to get down with the kids, really. You know, I thought I'd dye my hair, cut my beard, dye my eyebrows. I thought I'd just go completely out. You know, Mrs. Claus, she loves it.
But the fact is how you're going to market yourself, because obviously Father Christmas is this here. This is Father Christmas, this is Santa Claus, worldwide phenomenon, basically, and you've completely gone against it. If you're the real one, you might be an interloper, you might not be the real Father Christmas. Can you give us a ho, ho, ho to prove who you really are?
Okay. Ho, ho, ho!
I don't know what people in the studio think of that. Is it? I don't know. I'll have to comment a bit later. Yeah,
he's definitely convinced.
But never mind about that. So again, what we're going to do, we're going to ask you about why you lost the weight. Why was it that you lost the weight?
I got stuck down too many chimneys.
Really?
Yeah.
And what happened there? Did you have to get the services to actually fish you out?
You had to keep cutting me out. Happened about...
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to come back to that. We're going to talk a bit more about interesting stuff that involves you and Christmas and sleighs and God knows what else. But we'll see you in a bit. St. Nick will be back with us shortly. But now it's time for the news, and a news feature which my colleague Salvatore is covering. He's going to go back in time and covering to review major news events in each year. And today we'll be starting with the year that Santa adopted the brilliant red and white colours that have made him famous, the year 1920.
Thanks, Graham. Our main story today is that Babe Ruth has been traded by the Red Sox for $100,000, largest sum ever paid for a player at this moment in time. The World War I allies demand that the Netherlands extradite German Kaiser Wilhelm II, who has fled there. Meanwhile, the 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution is passed guaranteeing women's suffrage. But now, sticking to the theme of our show today about St. Nick, we can cross live to our reporter Olivia Ward, who has been looking into the history of Santa and his festive colours.
Coca-Cola has caused some controversy in the world today as they have manipulated Santa's well-known image of brown and green to their own personal colours of red and white. We have had a mixed opinion from the audience, with some people liking the new colours and agree that the colour red makes the season more bright and festive than that of the old Santa image. So what do you guys think? Do you think Coca-Cola has the right to change the face of Christmas? This is Olivia Ward reporting for Ed News. Back to the studio.
Thanks so much, Olivia. That's all for today for Ed News. Back to Graham in the studio.
Thanks for that, Salvi, and welcome back to a very special edition of the Time Tunnel TV. Santa Claus is our guest in the studio today, and I'm pleased to say that we can welcome him back right now. Thanks for sticking around for us. You must be very... Thank you for that.
Hi, guys. Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
You must be very, very busy, and once again, thanks for taking time out. I mean, you must be getting to that vital point in the year now, 4 or 5 weeks just before Christmas.
Well,
so, you know.
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, nowadays, because the factory isn't running, we can mainly do most of our stuff online.
Oh, really? That's excellent. Anyway, sorry, before we went to the news, I wanted to ask you about your weight loss and how you got stuck down that chimney.
Yeah.
So how many sort of mince pies do you consume at Christmas Eve? How many would you say you actually went through?
Well, I don't usually eat the full one. I eat about half and half a glass of sherry.
Sure, but surely you'd be over the drink drive limit. I mean, you've got to consider, you've got how many, you must visit, I mean, let's think about it, 64, 65 million people in this country. At least 25 million of those are kids. Yeah. So let's look at it, about 12, 13 million homes you've got to go to just in this country alone.
Yeah.
How is it physically possible for you to go around, say, 1 billion homes around worldwide?
Well, it's a little known secret. What I do with the sherry is I put it in a hip flask.
Right.
Keep it in a hip flask, and then when I get home, I just get absolutely sloshed.
Sloshed? You must be completely out of it for months.
Yeah. That's what I do for most of the year. That's why
incredible.
It takes such a long time.
I did hear a little rumour that you actually used to get other Father Christmases or other Santa Claus to go and help you out on the night of the December the 24th.
Only
you physically couldn't go round
no.
every house in a 24-hour thing because of the time zones and everything.
Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean, a couple of times completely screwed me over. That's why in 1920 I was a bit sloppy, and that's when they found me out.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, what was your feeling going from the traditional green and brown to the red and white? How do you think Coca-Cola, do you think they had the right to take over that and make it their own?
I think they had the right. Well, they had the right once they gave me $500,000, but we don't talk about that.
So there's a bit of oh, well, I won't go into that either.
Yeah.
But again, as I was speaking to you a bit earlier, how does this affect other strangers going into homes? I mean, surely CRB checks and things must come to the forefront.
Well, yeah, nowadays we never really have many issues these days. We had a bit in the 80s, but we don't talk about that either. Nowadays, we do a lot of checks. We have conventions. We see which one's the most suitable Father Christmas to go into each person's house.
Right. I believe you've also, I don't know if I should mention this, you've had several affairs behind Mrs. Claus's back. Would you like to bring them to light, or?
Well, just getting on a bit, so a hearing's going. Kristen Stewart was one.
Was she? Well, her of Twilight fame?
Yeah.
So what did Robert Pattinson have to say about that?
He wasn't too happy, to be honest. I mean,
I believe there was a bit of an altercation outside a beer cellar in Germany.
There was. Well, at first, it was supposed to be this weird vampire baby, but came out with a beard.
What, a white beard?
Full white beard.
Sort of gives the game away, really, anyway. Anyway, I don't want to sort of impinge on that too much. So what have we got in line for this Christmas? What would you say the top-selling toys are? I mean, you do mention the Xbox thing is quite a big thing, but just give us a couple of examples before we go.
Well, there's a new Rockin' Elmo I saw.
Oh, right.
A lot of kids are asking for that. And a lot of kids are asking for laptops, but this year, the recession's hit, I'm absolutely skint. I can't buy every kid a laptop.
So it's affected you as well. Anyway, thanks very much, Santa Claus. Hope you have a good...
Welcome.
Anyway, great stuff. Right, well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks very much to our special guest, that's St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, or whatever you want to call him, speaking to us today. And we wish him all the best for his travels this Christmas and beyond. We leave you now with a farewell performance from the man himself. You have been watching Time Tunnel TV. I've been your host, Graham Wolstenholme, and let's go for another Christmas classic, Michael Bublé's Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I am telling you why. 'Cause Santa Claus is coming to town. Oh, let's go! You better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. You better watch out, you better not cry, you better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming, I mean the big fat man with the long white beard. He's coming to town.